Hey there, so today we have another review. This is exciting one. This beer I've actually had before, but it's been quite a while. This is Le Petit Prince, yeah. This used to be in Bombers. I believe the recipe, I mean, it was just online. The recipe is over a decade old. It's inspired by a beer from Brasserie Dupont, which makes Saison Dupont, but they make a beer also called Avril, which is like a really low alcohol beer, from what I understand. And this is definitely low alcohol. This might be one of the lowest alcohol beers that's not NA. This is 2.9%. So it's their take on a Le Petit Prince farmhouse table beer. A little bit hoppy, uses their native yeast culture, and I thought I'd put it in the Wielenbecher because it seems like a good glass for sessional beer, sort of like good for lager, push, stuff like that. So it seems perfect for that. Wow, is that pale? What else do I have to say about this beer? I will say, actually, talking about Wielenbecher. This, by the way, if you don't know what Wielenbecher is, this is sort of the glass in the specific shape. I had one with the gold from Pretty Things. You guys don't know Pretty Things is a defunct brewery that was out of New England, and old money, a little bit old money, sort of like in that like era where I got into craft beer, and didn't make the cut when I moved. So unfortunately, I don't know where that glass is, but let's dig into the beer. So. Beer is very straw. I mean, like, it's not even gold. Like, it doesn't even look like beer. I suspect they use a lot of possible oat and or wheat in here to really, actually, the recipe's like online, but I suspect that that's what's helping this kind of color. Well, obviously, like, the beer's gonna look a little bit different when there's like less malts compared to like just how much other stuff is in here. I guess I don't know. This color in general reminds me of like an adjunct grain, oat or wheat. Just doesn't have that kind of like malt kind of look to it, but. A little bit hazy, more of a rocky head, sort of like, you know, being built as like. I mean, I poured it real slow, and you can get it like. I mean, really, you want to go a nice pour? You want to go a nice pour? Look at that! Look at that! Look what we do here, right? Almost like a Ramos Gin Fizz. We're going on, right? Pretty looking beer, super rocky. On the nose, I get like, whoa, yeah, definitely a little bit of phenolics. Definitely smells Belgian. I get a little bit of sweet lemon. I get a little bit of that grassiness. I get definitely some hop character. Some of that green myrcene thing going on. Definitely that like hill farmsteady kind of like natural mixed fermentation kind of thing going on. So a little bit like Whetstone, light bready character. So it's like Brett with a little bit of fruit, a little bit of stone fruit, palm fruit, but also that kind of like slightly. I don't know what acid's in here, but it's like slightly like. It's hard to. It's a little bit lavender, a little bit soapy, but then like it's hard because like Brett sometimes or a lot of times comes with like the lactic acid bacteria and or acetic with it, so it has a little bit of this like I can't tell if it's sour yet, but it sort of smells possible. Cheers. Yeah, that tastes great. The closest analogy I can sort of give you is a little bit Jolly Pumpkinish, but definitely like way less sour than those beers. And then a little bit Hill Farmsteady and less sour than those beers, right? I feel like if I had to rate them, I think Jolly Pump's a little bit more sour than it goes Hill Farmstead. In general, it's not really that sour at all. This is really reliant on their mixed fermentation strain, so quite Brett forward, a little bit phenolic, and then quite hoppy as well. Personally, I would have this a little colder. I'll probably have that like my beer fridge temp, which is like 45-ish, something like that. I would get fridge temp. I would get this like cold. Get like a little bit more refreshing because obviously you get such a tiny beer. I will say the impact flavor is fantastic for such a small beer. I think the first thing you notice is it's hoppy. Like this is a hoppy beer. It's not gonna be like IPA hoppy, but I would definitely argue in the sense of like definitely hoppier than like a dry hop sour, like impression wise, but. You know what? This is arguably just as hoppy as like a New England Pale Ale, right? You notice this like kind of like just like hop presence. It sits with the bitterness on the back end. But such a tiny beer has like a. In context of a 3% beer, this has a medium plus bitterness to it. Well, probably medium bitterness, but the impact of the hops is that the bitterness lingers. Here's a weird analogy. The hops last a really long time, but they only go so high, right? So we're talking about like medium plus, like at the loudest it goes, it's like medium to medium plus, right? On bitterness, but it lingers so long that it like has impression, like there's more bitterness to this beer, more flavor to the beer, which is such a funny thing they can do to this beer. I guess I suspect there's a whirlpool. The hop tradition and dry hopping possibly. Get all those fun kind of like traditional kind of funky flavors, a little bit of like whetstone, a little bit of Brett thing going on, a little bit of hay, which plays into this kind of like really light kind of cracked wheat malt character. You also get the cracked grains, so a little bit of oatmeal, a little bit of like whole wheat, a little bit of like 5-grain bread that's seeds and grain and whole, you know, chunky grain thing that you get from these breads. I guess we'll get a little like pale characters. You get dough, oats. There's a little bit of kiss, that kind of like, I suspect it's got to be like oat or wheat in here because there's something like that kind of adjunct grain, extra malt flavor that sort of, or extra grain flavor that sort of sits, offering a little bit of like sweetness that helps beer out, you know, plays with that bitterness. The beer in general is very, very quaffable, right? You sort of taste that as 3% because it's just, you taste watery in the best way, right? The watery, like there's a push of water on top of my beer, if that makes any sense. Really nice, beautiful medium to medium plus carbonation here. For impact flavor, I mean, it shows a little bit like NA, like the tastiest NA you've ever had, which is funny because, like, you know, it has like all that kind of like funky Brett thing, a little bit of that mixed fermentation thing going on, but then it's also quite hoppy. Yeah, you get a little bit of that. I like that the Belgian phenolic and Belgian character is not too strong. Doesn't overly dominate with like strong phenolics that can really, really the hops, I think, are the selling point in this beer. And if you've ever had a hop seltzer, sort of that like, kind of like reverberating character where like you almost get a full experience of something that has like literally zero alcohol because the hops sort of do a job. They do that here with such a small beer under 3%. The hops really help make the product bigger than what it is. It's delicious. You know, this is something that just would like high repeatability, high drinkability. It also has what do you call it? Like good impression, and then it has this kind of innovative side to it. Like who's making like such a delicious, well-crafted beer that's so hoppy under 3%? Like again, I think it's a category that is vastly underrated. Like for me, like I'd be happy just like instead of buying NA, like I'd be happy to just do this instead, right? Like I'd be curious if like more breweries would just split the difference and like, listen, you don't have to go all the way to NA and like not get any alcohol, but like at 3%, like you're really getting a hard time to really get there, but you still get the, you know, experience, right? So you're like sort of splitting the difference, like, you know, probably have to drink a lot to get a buzz or, you know, anything going on, like a lot. I actually don't know if you can get there at 3%, but you get the capability of beer flavor at 3% instead of like getting, you know, nothing at NA. Not that NA is not tasty and like all the things you can do. I just feel like you get a lot splitting the difference at 3%, 2%, blah blah, instead of going all the way to like quote unquote zero. So this is delicious. That's a 98 for me. That's tasty. Again, not enough beers are like this, so huge points to be making a beer this tiny. Shout out to the Colonel Toby too that I reviewed. Delicious flavor.